Okay.
All right. Pacific Division. Here we go. Starting off with the defending champions.
Oh.
Golden State. They won 53 last year. They added Dante DiVincenzo, JaMychal Green, Patrick Baldwin Jr. in the draft, Ryan Hollins in the draft. They lost Gary Payton, too much money, Otto Porter, too much money, Nemanja Bjelica, too much money, Juan Toscano Anderson, and Damian Lee. And basically, they are betting on Wiseman, Moody, and Kuminga to step up. So my one question is, are those three ready to step up, or is some combination of those three ready to play real minutes? And question two is, are Clay and Draymond on the decline, or maybe not? So yeah, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney is the starting five. What say you?
It's a wild drop off between those five and then like the sophomore guys.
Is that how you
Um,
pronounce sophomore?
what did I say?
Sophomore?
I really like to overpronunciate syllables, so probably not.
Okay.
Um, I like the Dante DiVincenzo signing, like nice rehab project for them. Um, this is difficult. I I honestly don't know. I think I could see
Yeah.
them kind of chilling out with the three, Curry, Thompson, and Dre, letting Jordan Poole kind of lead the offense a little bit more, and experiment with Moody and Kuminga. And I think both have the potential to provide at a legitimate level. And I think they're going to turn it up when they need to, which is typically, 1/3 into the season. Um, and I don't know. This is a really tough one, but I'm gonna
It is.
go over because I think they're just so competitive. And like I said before with Miami, where positioning is more important to them, I think, than other teams. I think that might be the same for the Warriors. Like, I think they want to have home court advantage and avoid kind of getting stuck in that group of the Clippers, the Suns, and the Nuggets. Sorry, Memphis, I don't think you're going to be there. And so I think getting first or second for them is more important than perhaps other teams. So I'm going over.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a over two. Some of the same reasons you said. I think Kuminga, I really like Kuminga and Moody. I think those guys are ready to be bench guys. Um, Even though I think Draymond is on the decline, I actually think Clay is gonna have a better season than he did last year.
Yeah,
I think like we saw him get it going in the playoffs a little bit, and usually with these injuries, you see the defense kind of come back a year. Like it takes a lot longer for the defensive speed to catch up.
especially
So
for
I think,
Achilles.
yeah, I think Clay will be better. And the big thing is, I think MVP, underrated MVP candidate is Steph. I could
Let's
totally
go.
see him winning it next year. What he did in the playoffs was absolutely remarkable. I
Yeah.
thought Draymond had a really interesting thought in his podcast. You get one interesting thought per 1.5 hours of rambles on the Draymond Green podcast. But no, he was saying
What
how
was his
like
thought?
Steph didn't used to before KD and during KD. He wasn't strong enough physically or mentally to be this guy who you could just give the ball to at the end of the game and say like, go finish the game for us. And during this playoff run, he became that guy. And I think he's just going to come into next season with that same confidence to where like I'm the best offensive player in the league and no one can stop me. And of course, Steph's always been like the greatest shooter and all that, but there's a difference of being the number one option on a championship team, right? Which he did last season. And yeah, I just think obviously the infrastructure is there around him. And then what you said about how they play super hard. They also play this style that is so different from all the other teams that when you're scouting for it, it's really hard in the middle of the regular season to all of a sudden change your defensive approach from whatever you play against 29 NBA player teams to whatever the Warriors are doing, with their ball movement. So I'll take the over.
Yeah. Oh, also sneaky signing Jermichael Green. Nice little grab. And lastly, not related, did you see Draymond Green at the Rico Hines run where he tore into Gabe Brown? Toronto Raptor
No,
material right there. He gave
no.
Gabe Brown shit for not sprinting hard enough.
Okay,
Not,
I saw him doing that speech about sprinting, but I didn't know who he was talking to.
yeah. Gabe got targeted. Poor
Okay,
guy. Not a good
whatever.
look. Okay.
All
So we
right,
both go over.
we both go over. Next
Yeah.
up here is the Phoenix Suns. Wow. Okay. Oh, I guess they should have been first because they have a higher over under, but
And the
whatever.
Clippers, but that's cool.
Yeah, the
That's all right.
Phoenix Suns are pegged at 52.5 wins. That's their over under. They won 64 last year. They added
Wow.
Jock Lawndale, sorry, Damian Lee, and Josh Okogie. They lost JaVale McGee, Frank Kaminsky, and Aaron Holiday. Dario Saric is going to return from injury, and that should help with the front court. The questions I have are, I guess, where's Chris Paul in his age curve? And what is the Aiton issue chemistry going to be like? Like, does it matter that they fumbled the Aiton bag so badly and then he signed this deal? Like, it was similar last offseason where they didn't offer him the contract extension and they came into the year and everything was good. But I don't know, will it be good again or will Aiton be mad? So those are some of the questions I have. And their starting lineup is Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and DeAndre Ayton. So 52.5 wins.
There was some buzz about Jay Crowder getting shipped to Bridges was in KD talks, the Aiden thing. So there was, and even Cam Johnson too. So there was a lot of kind of buzz around the team. Um, that being said, to drop off 11 games, 12 games rather, to fall under the under would be quite astonishing. And I'm not super stoked on Phoenix going into the playoffs necessarily, but I do think that they have a lot of youth that are still growing, Devin Booker included, that are still trying to prove themselves in the league. Cam Johnson's about to get paid, um, and I think there's enough here that they're going to have another really strong regular season. Even if Chris Paul is breaking down or is kind of like is slowed a little bit, Campaign has some stuff to prove. Shamit has some stuff to prove. So I think like there's enough on this team that they're gonna pile up the wins again. I don't think they're gonna get to 64 by any means, but 53, 54, I could see that happening.
Yeah, I dislike their depth. And I disagree with what you said about Chris Paul. I think if Chris Paul is not who he was last year, they could be really bad. Or like not really bad,
Really
but
bad.
like bad. I think he
He
makes
was
them
out for a
go.
while though, and they did just fine.
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I don't like the team's depth at all. Like look at their bench and like name a really impactful player
I
who's
mean, Cam
Cam
Johnson
Johnson, yeah,
could be
okay.
legit. He could. Not legit, but you know what I
He
mean.
could. And it's hard for me to take the under here because they won 64 games last year and it's
It's a
so
huge
hard
drop.
to drop off that badly. But at the same time, I'm really considering it because I just don't like the vibes. Like as
Yeah.
there's a real Aiton blow up possibility here based on the way that season ended and the relationship with him and the coach and all that and like the Jay Crowder rumors even. I don't think Devin Booker has another step to reach. I kind of think this is who he is.
Hmm.
Um, and then Chris Paul, that's what's I'm hung up on. Like, if Chris Paul can be the guy he was last year and just defy age again, then sure they're gonna win more than 52 games. If not, I really would not pick the over.
So last year, Paul missed 15 games in a row with I think a hamstring injury, and they went 12-3.
Yeah, but
So
they
they
were
can.
rolling. You know what I mean? Like that team was rolling. They lost Chris Paul. They kept it rolling. It's different if, you know, they never get
No, I
rolling.
don't know. I get what you're saying, but I just think that I don't agree with you. Even if Booker grows a little bit, I think Booker has enough offensive prowess to lead a team, at least in the regular season. Like he can just take over when he chooses to. And I think guys like Bridges, Aiton, Payne, Johnson, uh, still have they have the potential to take another leap. And like you said, there's so much consistency with these guys. There's the system has been implemented for 2 straight seasons now. Like there's no reason why there should suddenly be this traumatic like changing of events as far as like their wins in the regular season.
Yeah.
Unless Luka Doncic like stole their hearts and fried it on the barbecue and ate it all up.
Yeah. I'm going to take the over,
Yeah, me too.
but
Wait, I thought you were
barely.
taking the under.
No, I considered it. I didn't say that. I said
So I
I
convinced
would
you, is
if
what you're saying?
no, I said I would take the under if I wasn't how confident in Chris Paul, but I am confident in Chris Paul.
Oh, are you now?
So I'm just taking the over barely.
Okay.
I do think that if Chris Paul isn't really, really good, then they're gonna fall off a cliff. Anyways, Clippers. This is a team I'm very high on, and part of the reason I considered taking the under was also because
Yeah,
what's
I
coming up
agree. I,
here.
I think the stronger teams got, or I think there's more stronger teams in the West than there were last year.
Yeah, so Clippers were 42 and 40 last season without Kawhi playing. They added John Wall, and that's pretty much it. They lost Isaiah Hartenstein,
That's
and that's pretty much it. That's a big loss. How does Leonard look returning from his injury? And does John Wall give them anything? Were my two biggest question marks. We know like Hartenstein losing Hartenstein sucks, but their backup center situation is just going to be a small ball wing heavy lineup, and we've seen that work. So I don't think like the backup center is a huge question. But yeah, those are to me the big questions. 52.5 for the Clippers is their over under, and it looks like they'll be starting John Wall or Reggie Jackson, Paul
no
George,
way they're starting John Wall.
yeah, exactly. Marcus Morris and Zubac. Tons of
Um,
depth.
I'd
Tons of
also
depth.
say that Paul George didn't play what like 1/3 of the season last year either. So that
Yeah.
win total is basically without Paul George and Kawhi, or half of Paul George.
Yeah.
Um, 52 and a half is tough. That's the same as Phoenix, right? And I think with this team, this is also another team where they have their eyes on the prize, nothing else. Regular season, they could mean nothing, and I think they have the confidence to be a 4 or 5 seed and not give a shit. Like I think they know who they are and what they can be at their highest level. We all do, and that's a very scary proposition if everybody's healthy. And they are extremely deep. So if you do, well, they will shut Kawhi down a lot throughout the season. But you have guys like Powell and Terrence Mann and Luke Kennard and Amir Coffey, who I really like, who can step up into those roles and kind of give you a shared amount of scoring to compensate for Leonard or Paul sitting at times. And if you get anything from John Wall, they suddenly have a very intimidating point guard combination as well. Their only problem, like you said, is their center. And I think they will run into problems when they play Jokic or, I don't know, Minnesota maybe. But for the most part, this team looks perfectly created.
So you're taking the over?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
I've
they could
almost taken
win
all the overs
60
though.
games.
Yeah, me too.
Like,
I could definitely
I,
see it.
yeah, they're a lock for me. My first lock, I guess,
That's your first
technically.
lock.
Well, just that I've said out loud of the Western Conference.
So you're not giving everybody all of your knowledge. You're holding on to those ones yourself.
You gotta keep some stuff close to the chest,
Yeah,
man.
right. Not me.
Yeah, they're a lock for me. I think I mean between them and Denver, would be my two teams coming out of the West next year. I think those teams are better than the Warriors. So I'm really high on this team. I'm not worried about the backup center stuff because they have so many wings and Batum and Covington, all these guys who can kind of play the small ball fives. Leonard's going to not play back-to-backs and stuff like that, but that's fine with all the depth. I don't really actually have much to add. I think Ty Lue's a good coach. They're just going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. Norman Powell revenge year.
Sure. All right. On to the LA Lakers, the best soap opera on TV. 33-49 last year. They added Troy Brown, Damian Jones, Lonnie Walker, Thomas Bryant, Juan Toscano Anderson, and they selected Max Christie. They lost Malik Monk along with all the oldies. They lost a bunch of oldies
who haven't been signed, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah,
I mean, it's not funny for them, but
fine.
it's just...
Get Carmelo on a team. That's the only one I care about. I like watching Carmelo hoop a lot. Question marks are LeBron and AD's health. I guess especially AD, but both of them. What happens with Westbrook? Does he get traded or does he kind of fit in with the new coach, David Ham or Marvin Ham? Wait,
Darvin.
Darvin, man.
Put David and Marvin together and you get Darvin.
Darvin Ham. And then do they make a trade? Do they flip those first round picks that they have in the future for, like we were talking about, Mike Conley, guys like that? Do they trade Westbrook? There's a lot of question marks with this team, and yet still there's LeBron and AD. So where are you at? 45.5, I should say, is their over-under. They're going to start Westbrook, maybe Austin Reeves at the 2, LeBron, AD, and Thomas Bryant.
How many games did they win last year?
33.
33. I really don't know. There's just so many question marks. Like Russell Westbrook's definitely getting traded. It's just for who? Anthony Davis, I don't know that I can depend on him, but if he comes back with any sort of, passion, it's extremely dangerous. They're definitely deeper with younger talent, which is nice to see. I'm feeling more optimistic about that. Maybe Horton Tucker has a bounce back year. Kendrick Nunn didn't play last year, so maybe he gives you something. Stanley Johnson's best defender in the NBA. So I don't know. I'm going to have to go under because I keep taking overs, even though I feel really sick betting against LeBron James. But I could see this team. I guess the only reason why I would go over is I'm hedging that they make a good trade and they deepen their roster and become a legitimate contender. But based on what I'm seeing right here, I'm going under.
Yes, I am going to go over with that same hedge. LeBron signed this extension. There's been reports that they're willing to trade those first round picks. So I just see a deal getting done, if not in the summer, then by the trade deadline. And we talked about those Utah guys. Like, there are real possibilities to fill out this roster. And yeah, if LeBron and AD are healthy, I just think they're going to be better than a 45-win team. I don't think they're going to be like at the top of the West or anything, but I don't think they want to be in that play-in tournament. And so
You're right. You convinced me. I'm going over. I'm back.
Yes,
I'm back.
My first convince.
Yeah, you got to convince. Convinced. 45.5 is pretty low too. And you're right. Like, there's no way they're just sitting on this team. There's just no way. They have to do something.
Yeah, they have to.
Okay,
like
I'm
LeBron signed the contract extension. They're not.
It's painful enough for me to watch the Lakers win, then to lose money with that as well is just too much to bear. I have to.
Yeah, you have to hedge your bets.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to the final team of the Pacific Division. It's the Sacramento Kings. You're gonna have to go under just by default at this point. So Sacramento, their over-under is 32.5. They won 30 last year. They added Kevin Huerter, right?
No, I think it's Kevin.
Kevin Huerter. Malik Monk, Matthew Dellavedova, KZ Okpala, and they drafted Keegan Murray. as well as Mike Brown, new head coach. They lost Justin Holiday, Maurice Harkless, Dante DiVincenzo, Damian Jones. And yeah, my question marks are, can they defend? You know, and is Keegan Murray good? And these two kind of go hand in hand. But yeah, I guess can they defend with a starting lineup of De'Aaron Fox, Herder, Barnes, Murray, and Sabonis at the 5? And then Murray, from what I remember pre-draft, a big question was like, he's not a great rebounder, he's not a great defender of bigs, so who can he defend next to Sabonis and provide that insulation that Sabonis needs? 32.5 is their over under. Where are you at?
I don't think this team's too worried about playing defense generally if Sabonis is your starting center. Rashawn Holmes is in some trouble with the law, correct? I don't know that he's going to be around. I like Chimeze Metu, might be a little sleeper. Monk has something to prove. I love that Fox and Monk are reunited from Kentucky. They were so
Yeah.
fun to watch, and when they devastated Lonzo Ball in, I think it was in the tournament, it was like just felt so good to watch. They'll be really fun. I thought they were a Durant candidate. I thought like a package with Barnes and then a bunch of picks and Murray and stuff that maybe Kevin Durant would land there. All that to say, I'm going incrementally over. I know I probably have too many overs, but 32.5 seems really low for a team that is dead set on getting into the playoffs. Like that's what they're there for. They have like a respectable starting 5. Um, and their bench I don't really love, but it's not horrible. And maybe if Davion Mitchell can grow a little bit, yeah, I could see them getting 33 or 34 wins.
I think you will have only overs in this division.
No,
But
I took a Oklahoma under.
no, in this division. But
Oh,
yes, that's
yeah.
okay. That's fine.
No, I took a Phoenix
Um,
under, didn't I? No, I took an over. You're right. Oh
yeah,
God.
I think as I said at the beginning of this pod, sometimes you just got to go off vibes, and if there's one thing I'm going to do, it's pick the under for the Sacramento Kings. Like until they prove it, I'm happy to lose my money until they prove me wrong. Or yeah, no, does that make sense? Win money until they prove me wrong. And
Yeah.
they've never done that so far. So
No.
maybe this is the year, maybe not. I'm going to take the under. There's a lot of talent on this team. There is, but there's not a lot of defense. There's not a lot of size. And this organization has never been serious. So the idea that they're just going to all of a sudden get their act together, I'm hesitant to believe. So
The
I'll take the
greatest
under.
the greatest indicator of me being an irresponsible gambler is I put $5 on the Kings winning the division, kind of hedging that they would trade for Durant, but I could see the Lakers plummeting, the Warriors and Clippers kind
No,
of chilling, and Phoenix
no.
having a problem, and suddenly the Kings are right there.
If you do that, I'll convert. I don't know.
To what we don't know. Just
To what we
you'll
don't
just
know, but
yeah.
I'll convert. All right, we're done with the Kings. They're not winning the division. All right, thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, we're going to do the Southwest Division in a new video, so head on over there.